Hey there, this is Dave Gardner, your Now Lifestyle Master Trainer, and I'm super excited to be getting into the next video with you right now. All right, in our next video, we're going to talk here about the messages, and it's actually our next series of videos. So we are in the message tab, and we have things like follow-up, add follow-up, broadcast, send broadcast, and opt-in message. So I'm just going to do a brief definition of what those each are first, then we'll go more in depth with them. So the follow-up is basically a series of emails that has been created and it will automatically go out. So once someone subscribes to your list, they're going to get those emails day after day after day, depending on how many emails you set up. Now, if we take a look, when you first join Now Lifestyle, what happens is you're not going to have any messages created in here at all in your email autoresponder, because again, this is something you're going to build. Now, in the videos that we watched under campaigns and we created in campaigns, we did create a campaign and actually created a few campaigns. Some we created, and then some I showed how you could share codes and actually bring in emails. So when you go and you first click your message, the message first part that it shows up is going to be the follow-up. And normally we would see the subject, we would see any emails we had written. And so, for example, we created a couple lists the other day, the lovers and the leash buyers, and then we brought over the shared outside pages. Now notice these are listed alphabetically. Okay, so when you're first in there, you want to make sure you're in the correct campaign. So if you're going to add follow-ups, you need to make sure, or if you're going to go through certain procedures, make sure that you're in the correct campaign over here in the top. Now, if we go through and we click on outside pages, notice the page is going to refresh. I can change. We're going to see those emails that I imported the other day. So once you start building your follow-up series and you start adding and continuing to add your follow-up series, you will then see them. Now notice some of the details we're going to see. We're going to see the subject. So these are all the emails. We're going to see when we send it after. One of the crucial things you always want to do, that first email you send, you always want to make sure you send it on 0 days after, or basically day 0. That means the instant someone opts into your website, bam, they get a message sent to their inbox, and you also get a notification from Now Lifestyle that you got a new subscriber. So what this is going to say, and over time, this will continue to change because more people will start to opt in and continue to opt in over time into your website. So you'll see how many messages have been sent. You'll see how many people open that message. If you have a trackable link inside, you'll see how many clicks that received. You'll see the bounce rate. Now, bouncing is, again, let's say the email went to the person who's supposed to receive it, but then it got kicked out. Maybe it was a bad email, or maybe their email inbox was full. That gets bounced back, okay? So you may see how many get bounced back. If you have a high bounce rate, what that often is an indicator of is maybe you got some junk traffic. So let's say you were doing a solo ad, or maybe you were trying to do some advertising and you got really bad advertising, and maybe they gave you spam emails or bad emails or fake emails. Those messages likely would not hit an inbox and might get bounced. So that would be a good indicator not to use that provider anymore for traffic. As far as the spam score goes, again, if you're getting messages that are sent out, maybe someone is clicking the spam link in that message. You might notice some of your messages, maybe are more overly promotional than others. You want to try to keep it at a happy level. And so notice we actually have some details up here, different color code. So this would be highlighted. The whole thing would be highlighted a different color. Notice it changes color when I hover over it, but just in general, it would change the whole column, the whole row, going horizontally would change either to this color or this color. If it looks suspicious, if it has a spam score over 5 points, the message is not going to be sent versus the message is going to be blocked. Now, what we can do, we can actually go in and we can edit and we can change things. So notice the little icon here. I can edit a message that's already been written. I can add another message. So if I want to click a message to follow it and go in between there, I can add a message. I can test it and send it to myself, or I can delete it. Now, testing it is good because you can get it in your inbox. You can also check to see that the links are working correctly. So if we just go through and edit, there's all these things I can change. So let's, for example, say I want to edit this. I'm just going to click that icon. My page is going to refresh. And we'll go through more in depth the idea of all of the procedures with editing. And so notice we have, again, that day 0 for that first message. We always want to have our first message on day 0. Every other message we want to usually keep at a 1, because when you have a 1, that means it's sent on the next day, okay? So just 1 day later, 1 day later, 1 day later. So for example, here we go, we have the message. Let's say I'm using this for my team and I shared this. They're going to want to go in. We're still talking about Now Lifestyle. We're talking about certain things. They would want to go in and they would want to change their link and edit their link so the link is attached to them. They'd want to go in and they'd want to edit their phone number, so that's attached to them. They'd want to go in and change the picture, so that's attached to them, okay? These are all things that people would change, and once they changed, they would then click that edit so that they would actually have the newly edited thing there. Now, if it goes right back to the same page, that's fine. You can just go back into your messages and you can just basically start over if you want to have other messages you edit. Now, let's say you have one message that starts at day 0, and let's say you don't want to send them a message. So notice my column here, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That means, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have about 2 weeks of messages ready to go. And so let's say I don't want to send them every day. I could go in and edit this and just make sure that this is a 2. That would mean it would be sent 2 days later. So let's say this was received on a Friday. This wouldn't be on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just going through the week. But if I change this to a 2, this is received on a Friday. This would be received not Saturday, but instead on Sunday, 2 days later. Then it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just keeps going. So again, the follow-ups are emails that are existing. Those are ones that you've already created and they're going to be going out there. So you can always go back and edit them. You can always go back and change your links. It's always beneficial, especially as you grow and you progress. Maybe you have a welcome coupon on the first email, and maybe a year from now you want to change that coupon to offer something else, or maybe you've updated and you have a different blog post or you have a different social media post that you want to connect to that. So you can always go back and edit those messages later on. You can always delete them, and you can always add more to the list. The more you add, the better it's going to be, because you're going to have continuous contact with your leads. Now, one of the things that I recommend and that I often do, and I would recommend you doing as well, when you do a send broadcast, and let's say you're doing a live message to someone that's congruent to that day, you can then add that in as a follow-up. And we'll talk about that when we get into the follow-up videos. Now, here's a big thing that I want you to take from this though. Okay, even though this is like a set it and forget it, you want to make sure that all of the messages in your follow-up, it's crucial, hear me out here. All of the messages in your follow-up, you got to make sure that they are not tied to current events. Okay, make sure they are not tied to current events. Because what happens is, if you talk about, let's say like a bad weather event or a snowstorm, but if someone gets that message and it's in the summer and you're talking about a snowstorm, it doesn't make sense. If you're talking about a sporting event, or maybe like a presidential election, you're talking about certain presidents or certain teams that won, a certain championship, and maybe that championship was 2 or 3 years ago, that doesn't make sense. Current events and current, weather, current ideas, current, if you want to get into politics, I stay away from politics typically, but key things that are current you would do in the send broadcast, things that are more generic and can be seen and read and interpreted anytime throughout the year, regardless of when they are received, that would be in your follow-up series. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Again, this has been Dave Gardner. Thank you for watching along with this training video. Hopefully you found some immense value. If you have any questions or comments, you can always join us and hit us up in the Facebook group or support tab up top. We really want to hear about your successes with these tools and how you're actually implementing them into your niche, because we want to help the family out. So as I always say, you get out of it what you put into it. And the big question that I always have for you is, with all these awesome tools that you have in the Now Lifestyle family, what will you create to make your legacy, and what will you create to help others so that you can make a difference in the world today?